I bet you can't solve this equation. You probably can't even read it." Mrs. Dorothy Whitmore said it loud enough for the whole class to hear. Then she looked at Brandon Carter, the only black kid in advanced math, and added, "Your kind isn't built for this." She slammed the chalk on his desk. It shattered into white dust. "Get up. Walk to that board right now. Let's see you fail in front of everyone." 30 students went silent. Brandon stood up, hands shaking. What she didn't know, he'd been teaching himself college-level calculus since he was 12, every night, alone, because teachers like her never believed he belonged. What happened in the next 2 minutes didn't just shock the room, it exposed everything. Drop a comment where you're listening from. Hit subscribe to Beat Stories. You need to see what happens when he picks up that chalk. Brandon Carter wasn't supposed to be in that classroom. Not because he wasn't smart enough, because he was too smart. And he'd learned the hard way that being too smart, too black, and too poor at Jefferson High meant one thing: keep your head down. He was 15, sophomore year, lived in a small apartment with his mom, Patricia, who worked double shifts as a hospital administrator just to keep them afloat. That faded black hoodie, the one with frayed cuffs from too many washes, was his armor. Warm against the drafty back row where he always sat, but heavy with the stares it drew. While other kids scrolled TikTok before bed, Brandon watched MIT OpenCourseWare. Differential equations at 2 a.m. Not for homework, not for grades, because math was the only language that made perfect sense. He'd been teaching himself since 12. Started with his late father's engineering textbooks, moved to Khan Academy, then YouTube professors, then college courses online. By 14, he solved problems college juniors struggled with. By 15, he could visualize calculus like some people visualize music. But nobody at school knew. Because Brandon had learned in 8th grade what happened when you were too smart and too visible. The bullying, the isolation, the accusation he was trying to act white when he answered correctly. The suspicious looks from teachers who couldn't believe a black kid from his neighborhood could ace advanced tests. So he made himself invisible. Back row, hood up, earbuds in, answered just enough to maintain his A, but never enough to stand out. His math teacher, Mr. Samuel Rodriguez, was the only one who knew. Mr. Rodriguez was 32, Latino, young enough to remember being underestimated. He'd figured out Brandon's secret 3 months in when he noticed Brandon finishing tests in half the time, then solving problems that weren't even assigned. Complex proofs, multivariable equations, things that shouldn't make sense to a sophomore. One day after class, "Brandon, why are you hiding?" Brandon shrugged. "I'm not. I'm just being careful." Careful of what? Of standing out. Of giving people another reason to... He stopped. Mr. Rodriguez understood without Brandon finishing. "You're the best student I've had in 8 years, he said quietly. "You could win competitions, get scholarships, full rides." Brandon looked at the floor. "Or I could just graduate quietly and go to community college like everyone expects. Is that what you want?" Brandon didn't answer, because he didn't know anymore. Mr. Rodriguez started meeting him during lunch once a week, secretly prepping him for competitions, giving him college problems, watching him solve things that made even Mr. Rodriguez look up solutions. "You have a gift," he told Brandon more than once. "Don't let fear bury it." But fear was reasonable at Jefferson High. The school was 60% students of color, but advanced placement classes were 90% white and Asian. The honors track was a pipeline to Ivy League. If you had the right last name, the right neighborhood, the right connections. Brandon had none of that. Just raw ability and a used calculator his mom bought for his birthday. His best friend DeAndre Wilson knew bits and pieces. They'd been friends since middle school. DeAndre played basketball, got B's and C's, kept his head down in a different way. "Bro, you're gonna end up at MIT or something," DeAndre had told him once. "Nah, can't afford it." Scholarships exist. For kids like me, they want well-rounded sports, clubs, leadership. Brandon shook his head. I just do math alone in my room. That's still something. But Brandon didn't believe it. This particular morning felt normal. Brandon arrived, hood up, backpack over one shoulder, headed to second period. AP Calculus with Mr. Rodriguez. The hallway smelled like floor cleaner and burnt coffee from the teacher's lounge. Students rushed past. Someone bumped his shoulder. Didn't apologize. Brandon didn't care. Just 30 more minutes until the one class where he could breathe. But when he walked into room 204, Mr. Rodriguez wasn't there. At the front stood a woman Brandon had never seen. Older, maybe 60, white, wearing a cardigan that looked expensive, holding a leather briefcase like a shield. Her name was written on the board in sharp, angular letters, Mrs. D. Whitmore. "Take your seats," she said before the bell even rang. Her voice was cold, clipped, like she was already annoyed. "I'm your substitute. Mr. Rodriguez is out sick." Brandon slid into his usual spot. Back row, corner, as far from attention as possible. He pulled out his notebook, the one with equations scribbled in the margins, clicked his pen, waited for class to start. Mrs. Whitmore stood at the front and scanned the students with an expression Brandon recognized immediately. Suspicion, discomfort. The look teachers got when they walked into a classroom that didn't look like the ones they were used to. Her eyes lingered on the Black and Latino students, skipped over the white and Asian ones. Brandon saw it. So did DeAndre, sitting 2 rows ahead. She cleared her throat. "I expect discipline today. I expect respect. And I don't tolerate excuses." Nobody responded. The room stayed quiet, tense. Brandon kept his eyes on his desk. Just get through the period, he thought. Stay invisible. Stay safe. Mrs. Whitmore opened her briefcase, pulled out a stack of papers, set them down with a sharp slap. "Today we're reviewing quadratic equations. I know Mr. Rodriguez has been lenient with his standards, but I maintain proper academic rigor." Brandon's jaw tightened. Lenient. Mr. Rodriguez was one of the hardest teachers in the school. Emma Johnson, sitting in the front row, raised her hand. "We're actually on exponential functions. We finished quadratics in October." Mrs. Whitmore's smile was thin. "Then this will be an easy review for you, won't it?" Emma lowered her hand. I looked back at the other students, confused. Brandon pulled his hood up slightly, sank lower in his chair. Something felt wrong, off. But he told himself it would be fine. One class period, 45 minutes. Then Mr. Rodriguez would be back tomorrow, and everything would return to normal. He had no idea that in 30 minutes, staying invisible would become impossible, and that the equation written on the board would change everything. Mrs. Whitmore started the lesson on quadratic equations. She wrote a problem on the board. Standard stuff. Something Brandon had mastered 2 years ago. Find 2 numbers that multiply to give 6 and add up to 5. But her explanation was wrong. She was overcomplicating the discriminant, mixing up the formula, adding steps that didn't need to be there. Brandon watched, pen frozen in his hand. It was like watching someone insist 2 + 2 = 5. A girl in the front row, Emma Johnson, raised her hand. She was white, genuinely trying to follow along. "Mrs. Whitmore, I'm confused. Mr. Rodriguez taught us a different method." "I've been teaching mathematics for 30 years, Mrs. Whitmore cut her off. "This is the correct method. What Mr. Rodriguez showed you was probably simplified for slower learners." Emma's face went red. She looked down at her desk. Brandon whispered to his friend DeAndre Wilson, sitting next to him. "She's doing it wrong. The formula is b² - 4 times a times c, not plus—" "Bro, don't," DeAndre whispered back. "Just let it go." But Mrs. Whitmore heard something. She stopped mid-sentence, turned slowly toward the back of the room. "Excuse me." Her eyes locked on Brandon. Young man in the back with the hood. Brandon's stomach dropped. He looked up. Yes, ma'am? Do you have something you'd like to share with the class? No, ma'am. No? She took 3 steps toward him. Because I distinctly heard you talking. If you have something to say, you can say it to everyone. The classroom went quiet. 29 other students turned to look at Brandon. I was just... Brandon started. Stand up when I'm speaking to you. Brandon stood slowly. His legs felt weak. Now, what were you saying? I thought there might be another way to solve the problem. Mrs. Whitmore's smile was thin and cold. Another way. I see. And where exactly did you learn advanced mathematics? YouTube? A few students laughed nervously. Brandon's face burned. Actually, yes, ma'am. I've been studying YouTube, she repeated, louder. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an expert here who learned math from the internet. More uncomfortable laughter. Some students looked away. DeAndre muttered under his breath, This is messed up. Mrs. Whitmore walked to the board, erased everything. Then I wrote a new problem, a much harder problem. If you double a number, then double it again, and the result is 64. What's the original number? Brandon recognized it immediately. Exponential thinking. College algebra level, way beyond the sophomore curriculum. She set the chalk down with a sharp click. Then she turned to face Brandon directly. Since you seem to think you know better than me, here's a challenge. She paused. Let the silence stretch. Every eye in the room was on them now. I bet you can't solve this problem. Brandon's mouth went dry. Mrs. Whitmore took a step closer. Her voice dropped, but it was still loud enough for everyone to hear. You probably can't even understand it. Someone gasped. Emma's hand covered her mouth. Mrs. Whitmore wasn't done. She looked Brandon up and down. I looked at his worn hoodie, his old sneakers, his second-hand backpack. Your kind isn't built for this level of thinking. The room went dead silent. Brandon felt like he'd been punched in the chest. He heard DeAndre suck in a breath beside him. Mrs. Whitmore walked to Brandon's desk, picked up the piece of chalk sitting there, and slammed it down. The chalk shattered. White dust exploded across Brandon's hoodie, his desk, his hands. Get up, she said. Walk to that board right now. Brandon didn't move. He couldn't. His hands were shaking. Let's see you fail in front of everyone. Emma spoke up, her voice small. Mrs. Whitmore, that's not... Quiet, Miss Johnson, unless you'd like detention. Emma went silent. DeAndre leaned toward Brandon. Bro, you don't have to do this. Just sit down. But something in Brandon shifted. He looked at the problem on the board. He knew how to solve it. I knew it was cold. Had solved problems like this 100 times in his bedroom at 2 in the morning while his mom slept. He thought about his father's textbooks, about every MIT lecture he'd watched in secret, about Mr. Rodriguez telling him, You have a gift. Don't let fear bury it. Brandon looked Mrs. Whitmore in the eye. I can solve it. His voice was quiet but steady. Mrs. Whitmore blinked. What did you say? I said I can solve it. She laughed. Actually, I laughed. You can solve a college-level exponential problem. Yes, ma'am. The class was frozen. Nobody breathed. Mrs. Whitmore crossed her arms. Fine. Prove it. Come up here right now and show us all how smart you think you are. She leaned in close enough that Brandon could smell her perfume. And when you fail, and you will fail, I want you to apologize to this entire class for wasting our time. Brandon stood up. His legs were shaking, but he was standing. He looked at DeAndre. DeAndre gave him the smallest nod. Brandon picked up a piece of chalk from the tray. I walked to the front of the room. 30 students watched him. Some looked scared for him. Others looked curious. 3 had their phones out, already recording. Mrs. Whitmore stood off to the side, arms still crossed, a satisfied smirk on her face. Brandon faced the board. If you double a number, then double it again, and the result is 64. What's the original number? He stared at it for exactly 3 seconds. Then he started writing. Brandon's hand was steady now. The fear was gone, replaced by something else. Focus, clarity. This was the one place he'd always felt safe, inside the math. He wrote the first line. If I double a number, I get 2 times that number. His voice was quiet, but everyone could hear him. The room was that silent. Mrs. Whitmore uncrossed her arms, stepped closer, watching. Brandon continued writing, talking through each step. If I double it again, I'm doubling the doubled amount. So that's 2 times the original number. He wrote it out in words. 2 times the number equals 64. 2 times 2 is 4. So 4 times the number equals 64. His chalk moved fast, showing the division. 64 divided by 4 equals 16. Someone whispered, "Wait, he's actually doing it." Brandon didn't stop. "Let me check. 16 doubles is 32. 32 doubles is 64. He circled the answer. 16. The answer is 16. He set the chalk down, turned around. The clock on the wall read 10:24 a.m. He'd started at 10:23. 1 minute. Maybe less. The classroom was dead silent. Mrs. Whitmore stared at the board, her mouth slightly opened, the smirk gone. Emma broke the silence. "Oh my God, he actually solved it." DeAndre was grinning. "Bro!" The room straight up exploded, whispers turning to "what the hell" murmurs. A few students started clapping. Brandon stood there, chalk dust on his hands, not knowing what to do. Mrs. Whitmore's face changed. The shock turned into something harder. "Stop," she said sharply. The clapping died immediately. She walked to the board, studied Brandon's work. Her finger traced the lines. Brandon waited. His heart is pounding now, adrenaline hitting. She turned to face him. "You memorized this." Brandon blinked. "What?" "You've seen this exact problem before. You memorized the answer." "No, There is no way a sophomore solves a problem that fast. You either saw this online or someone gave you the answer." The room erupted again. "What?" Emma stood up. "Mrs. Whitmore, we all watched him." "Sit down, Miss Johnson." "But he solved it from scratch." "I said, sit down." DeAndre stood too. "This is crazy. He just proved he could do it." "Detention, both of you." Kevin Brown raised his hand. "Mrs. Whitmore, I was recording. He didn't look at his phone. He didn't look at anything. He just solved it." Mrs. Whitmore's face was bright red now. "Phones away. All of you, right now." Brandon found his voice. "Mrs. Whitmore, you can give me another problem. Right now. I'll solve it again." "You don't tell me what to do in my classroom." "I'm not trying to. I'm just saying I can prove—" "What you can prove," she cut him off, "is that you're disruptive and disrespectful." She walked to the classroom phone on the wall. I picked it up. "Yes, I need security in room 204. I have a student who needs to be escorted to the principal's office." Brandon's stomach dropped. "What? To solve the problem?" "For academic dishonesty." The words hit him like a slap. "Academic dishonesty?" Brandon's voice cracked. "I solved your problem." "You cheated, and now you're being insubordinate." Emma was on her feet again. "Mrs. Whitmore, this is insane. We all saw what happened." "Miss Johnson, one more word and you'll be suspended." DeAndre pulled out his phone. I started typing fast. Mrs. Whitmore pointed at him. "Put that phone away or I'm confiscating it." "I'm texting Mr. Rodriguez. He needs to know what you're doing." "Mr. Rodriguez is out sick. I'm in charge of this classroom." The door opened. Mr. Davis, the school security guard, walked in. He was a black man in his 50s, former military. Everyone liked him. "What's going on?" he asked. Mrs. Whitmore pointed at Brandon. "This student cheated on a math problem and is now being disruptive. I need him removed." Mr. Davis looked at Brandon, then at the board, then back at Mrs. Whitmore. "Ma'am, what exactly did he do?" "He claimed to solve a college-level problem in under 2 minutes. That's impossible. He obviously memorized it or looked it up." Mr. Davis walked to the board, studied it. "Did you watch him solve this?" "Of course I watched." "So you saw him write all this, step by step, in front of you?" Mrs. Whitmore hesitated. "Yes, but... and his answer is correct?" She didn't respond. Mr. Davis turned to Brandon. "Son, did you solve this problem yourself?" "Yes, sir." "From scratch? She was watching you the whole time?" "Yes, sir." Mr. Davis looked at Mrs. Whitmore. His voice was calm but firm. "Ma'am, I'm not removing this student. If you want to file a report for academic dishonesty, you can do that through the proper channels. But I'm not taking a kid out of class for being smart." But Whitmore's hands were shaking now. From anger or embarrassment, Brandon couldn't tell. "This is unacceptable. I will be speaking to the principal about your insubordination." "You're welcome to do that," Mr. Davis said evenly. The bell rang. 10:30 a.m., class was over, but nobody moved. 30 students sat frozen, watching this standoff. Mrs. Whitmore grabbed her briefcase. "Class dismissed, everyone out, now!" Students started gathering their things slowly, whispering. Emma walked past Brandon. "I got it on video," she whispered. "Everything." DeAndre tapped his phone. "I texted Mr. Rodriguez, he's coming." Kevin stopped at the door. "That was the most messed up thing I've ever seen a teacher do." One by one, students filed out. Brandon stood at the front of the room, still holding the chalk, staring at his own handwriting on the board. Clear steps, correct answer, undeniable. Mrs. Whitmore erased them with 3 angry swipes. The evidence disappeared under the felt eraser. She turned to Brandon. Her voice was low and cold. "You think you're clever, but I've been teaching for 30 years. I know a cheater when I see one, and by the end of the day, everyone else will too." She walked out. Mr. Davis put a hand on Brandon's shoulder. "Son, are you okay?" Brandon stared at the empty board, at the white dust still hanging in the air where his proof had been seconds ago. "I solved it," he said quietly. "I solved it right in front of her." "I know you did. So why doesn't it matter?" Mr. Davis didn't have an answer for that. Brandon walked back to his desk, grabbed his backpack. His hands were shaking again. The classroom was empty now except for Mr. Davis. Brandon headed for the door. That's when he heard footsteps running down the hallway. The door burst open. Mr. Rodriguez stood there like a storm, sweatpants and all, eyes locked on Brandon, out of breath but burning with purpose. "Brandon," he said, "I got DeAndre's text. Tell me what happened." Brandon told him everything. The insult, the equation, the solution, the accusation, the erasure. Mr. Rodriguez's face went from concern to fury in about 10 seconds. "She said what to you?" "She said my kind isn't built for this level of thinking." Mr. Rodriguez closed his eyes, took a breath. "Where is she now?" "Principal's office, filing a report. Against you, for cheating." They walked to the principal's office. Students stared as they passed. The rumor was spreading fast. The secretary looked up. "Mr. Rodriguez, you're supposed to be home sick. I need to see Dr. Hayes, now." The principal's door opened. Dr. Richard Hayes stepped out. Behind him came Mrs. Whitmore. She stopped when she saw Brandon. "Dr. Hayes," Mr. Rodriguez said, "we need to talk about what happened in second period." "Sam, what are you doing here? You called in sick." "I got a text from a student about an incident in my classroom." Mrs. Whitmore spoke up. "There was no incident." A student cheated and became disruptive when confronted. That's a lie, Brandon said quietly. How dare you call me a liar? Everyone inside my office, Dr. Hayes said. Now! They filed in. Dr. Hayes behind his desk, Mrs. Whitmore and Brandon in chairs, Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Davis standing. Someone tell me what happened. Mrs. Whitmore went first. I was teaching advanced equations. This student was whispering and disrupting class. I asked him to solve a problem. He claimed to solve it, but the speed was impossible, clearly memorized. When I questioned him, he became aggressive. That's not what happened, Brandon said. Brandon, you'll get your turn, Dr. Hayes said. Mr. Davis cleared his throat. Sir, when I arrived, the student was calm. The teacher was escalating. Were you there from the beginning? No, sir. Then you don't know what happened, Mrs. Whitmore snapped. Dr. Hayes looked at Brandon. Your version. Brandon kept his voice steady. She asked me to solve an exponential equation. E to the 2x minus 5e to the x plus 6 equals 0. I solved it using substitution, about a minute. Then she said, I cheated. Did you cheat? No, sir. Can you prove that? I can solve another equation right now. Mrs. Whitmore laughed, short and sharp. Of course he says that. He's had time to prepare. Mr. Rodriguez stepped forward. Dr. Hayes, Brandon is the best math student I've had in my career. He tutors other students. This is completely within his abilities. That's your opinion? You're biased, Mrs. Whitmore said. I favor talented students, yes. Even when they cheat? He didn't cheat. Gentlemen, that's enough. Dr. Hayes held up his hand. He turned to Brandon. Do you have proof, evidence you solved this honestly? 3 students recorded it. Emma Johnson, DeAndre Wilson, Kevin Brown. Mrs. Whitmore shook her head. Students lie for their friends, not credible. Dr. Hayes leaned back. Here's the problem. Mrs. Whitmore says you cheated. You say you didn't. Without the actual problem on the board, it's your word against hers. She erased it, Brandon said. Standard procedure. I needed the board for the next class, Mrs. Whitmore said smoothly. Brandon felt something cold in his stomach. Dr. Hayes sighed. Brandon, I need to suspend you pending investigation. What? Mr. Rodriguez nearly shouted. I have to take academic dishonesty seriously, Sam. There was no dishonesty. That's what we're investigating. Brandon's voice came out small. For how long? 3 days minimum. Dr. Hayes shifted uncomfortably. Look, protocol ties my hands here. Board review takes at least 48 hours, but we'll try to rush it. Mr. Rodriguez's voice was tight. His mother works double shifts at the hospital. A suspension ruins his college applications. His scholarships. I understand the implications. Mrs. Whitmore stood. Perhaps he should have thought of that before cheating. He didn't cheat. Mr. Rodriguez was in her face now. You humiliated him because you couldn't stand that a black kid was smarter than you. The room went silent. Mrs. Whitmore's face was drained of color. How dare you make this about race? You made it about race when you said his kind isn't built for thinking. I never said that. Yes, you did. Brandon stood. You said it in front of everyone. Prove it, Mrs. Whitmore said coldly. Dr. Hayes held up both hands. Everyone stop. He looked at Brandon. Without concrete evidence, I have to follow protocol. 3-day suspension starts now. Your mother will be called. Brandon felt the room tilt. 3 days. Suspension. Academic dishonesty on his record. His college applications, his scholarships, everything. Gone. Mr. Rodriguez gripped his shoulder. We're not done fighting this. Brandon walked out in a daze. In the hallway, students stared. DeAndre appeared. Bro, what happened? Suspended 3 days. For what? Cheating. That's insane. Brandon kept walking. Out the doors, into the parking lot. His phone buzzed. His mom. Baby, the school just called. What's going on? Brandon couldn't speak. Brandon, talk to me. Mom, I didn't do anything wrong. I know. I'm leaving work right now. He sat on the curb, stared at the pavement. He'd done everything right, solved the problem perfectly, stayed respectful. None of it mattered. Behind him, voices. He turned. Emma Johnson was running across the parking lot, the phone raised like a flag. 5 students with her. Brandon, we got the whole damn thing, from slam to erase. Emma stopped in front of him, breathing hard. I recorded the whole thing. Brandon looked up. What? From when she wrote the equation to when she erased it. Everything. DeAndre, Kevin Brown, and 2 other students crowded around. All had their phones out. I got it too, Kevin said. Different angle. Same, said Rachel Martinez. Started recording when she slammed the chalk. Brandon stood slowly. You all recorded it? We knew something was wrong, Emma said. The way she talked to you, so we hit record. DeAndre pulled up his video. Time stamped, 10:23 a.m. There it was, crystal clear. Mrs. Whitmore, I bet you can't solve this equation. You probably can't even read it. Then, your kind isn't built for this level of thinking. The chalk slamming, the dust. Brandon solved it. 90 seconds. Mrs. Whitmore's face went from smug to shocked to angry. Her accusation, the erasure, everything. She can't deny this, Emma said. We have 5 videos. Brandon's hands shook, not from fear this time. We need to show Dr. Hayes. Already sent it, DeAndre said. 2 minutes ago. I sent it to my mom, Emma added. She's a lawyer. She's calling the school now. Kevin grinned. Posted it in the school Discord. 300 people have seen it. Brandon stared at them. Kids he barely knew, taking risks for him. Why? Emma looked at him. Because what she did was wrong. The parking lot filled with more students. Word spreads fast. Brandon's phone rang. His mom. Baby, I'm 10 minutes away. Mom, they recorded everything. We have proof. Send it to me, now. DeAndre did. 5 videos sent instantly. Another car pulled in fast. Mr. Rodriguez's Honda. He got out, walked straight to Brandon. I saw Emma's video. This changes everything. Dr. Hayes suspended me anyway. Not for long. His phone rang. He answered, listened. That was Dr. Hayes' assistant. He wants us back. Emergency meeting. Emma grabbed Brandon's arm. We're coming too. You don't have to. Yes, we do. We're witnesses. They walked back inside. 7 students and 1 teacher. Phones loaded with evidence. Hallways buzzing. Did you see the video? She really said that? They reached the office. The secretary looked overwhelmed. Dr. Hayes is expecting you, but... We're witnesses, Emma said. We're coming in. Dr. Hayes appeared at his door. I looked at the crowd. All of you? All of us, Kevin said. Fine, inside. They filed in, crowded now. Students, Mr. Rodriguez, Dr. Hayes, Assistant Principal Mrs. Foster. Mrs. Whitmore sat in the corner, face pale when she saw the students. Dr. Hayes closed the door. I've received 5 videos in 10 minutes. I've watched them. Mrs. Whitmore shifted. Those students are biased. The videos are time-stamped. They show you making a statement to Brandon, him solving the equation in 90 seconds. You are accusing him and erasing evidence. I was testing his integrity. They also show you making a racially charged comment. Silence. Mrs. Whitmore's face reddened. I never said anything racist. Emma stepped forward. You said, quote, your kind isn't built for this level of thinking. 5 of us heard it. 5 recorded it. Want to hear the audio? Mrs. Whitmore's mouth opened, closed. Out of context. What context makes that okay? DeAndre said. Dr. Hayes held up his hand. Mrs. Whitmore, wait outside. This is a witch hunt. Outside, now. She left, head high, hands shaking. Dr. Hayes looked at Brandon. First, I apologize. I should have asked for more before deciding. Brandon said nothing. Second, your suspension is lifted, immediately. Relief hit Brandon's chest. Third, formal investigation into Mrs. Whitmore's conduct. I'll need statements from all of you. Mr. Rodriguez leaned forward. Dr. Hayes, Brandon deserves more than an apology. He deserves recognition. That equation? I couldn't solve it that fast, and I have a master's in mathematics. What are you suggesting? Verify his abilities publicly. Independent panel. Let them test him. Prove he's not just capable, he's exceptional. Dr. Hayes considered. You want another test? I want his name cleared completely, no doubts. Brandon found his voice. I'll do it. Everyone looked at him. Any test, any problem, in front of anyone. I'm tired of being doubted. Dr. Hayes nodded. Tomorrow, independent proctors, recorded. District officials present. Emma smiled. Students too. We want to watch. Fine. DeAndre squeezed Brandon's shoulder. You got this. Brandon looked around, at kids who'd stood up, fought back. He wasn't invisible anymore. Brandon's phone buzzed. Text from Principal Hayes. Test tomorrow at 2 p.m. library. 3 independent math teachers. 10 problems. College level. 2 hours. Another text. This is your chance to prove yourself beyond doubt. Mr. Rodriguez read over his shoulder. 2 hours for 10 problems. What if I mess up? Brandon said quietly. You won't, Emma cut in. We've seen what you can do. Tomorrow, everyone else will too. DeAndre walked with him to the parking lot. This is bigger than just you now. Every kid who's been told they're not smart enough, you're fighting for them tomorrow. Brandon felt the weight of it. His mom's car pulled up. She got out in her hospital scrubs and hugged him tight. Baby, are you okay? Yeah, Mom. School told me about tomorrow's test. I can do it. I know. Your father would be so proud. Brandon's throat tightened. As they drove away, Brandon looked back at the school. Tomorrow, he'd prove what he'd always known. Tomorrow, the doubt ended. The next day, Brandon arrived at school at 1:30 p.m. The library had been transformed. 1 desk in the center, 3 chairs behind it for proctors, rows of chairs for observers, and cameras, 5 of them, 1 in each corner, 1 overhead. Dr. Hayes stood near the door. Brandon, come in. The library was filling up. Students lined the walls, teachers in the back. Brandon's mom sat front row, still in work clothes. Mr. Rodriguez stood beside her, gave Brandon a nod. Emma, DeAndre, Kevin, and Rachel sat together. Emma gave a thumbs up. 3 strangers sat behind the center desk. 2 women, 1 man. All serious. Dr. Hayes walked to the front. Everyone, settle down. Silence. We're conducting an independent assessment to verify Brandon Carter's mathematical abilities. These 3 are math department heads from neighboring schools. They've prepared 10 problems ranging from advanced algebra to college-level calculus. He gestured to them. Dr. Linda Walsh from Riverside High. Mr. James Bennett from Oakwood Academy. Dr. Patricia Moore from Central Technical Institute. They nodded. The test will last 2 hours maximum. Brandon will solve problems on the whiteboard while being recorded. No phones, no notes, no assistants. Questions? Silence. Brandon, please take your seat. Brandon walked to the center desk, felt every eye on him. His hands were sweating. He sat. Dr. Walsh stood. She was older, maybe 60. Kind eyes behind wireframe glasses. Brandon, 10 problems, 1 at a time on the whiteboard. Show your work. Explain your reasoning. Take your time. She handed him a sealed envelope. Begin when ready. Brandon looked at his mom. She smiled, mouthed, "You got this." He stood. I walked to the whiteboard, opened the envelope. 10 problems printed on one sheet. First problem. What number do you multiply by itself 3 times to get 81? He picked up the marker, took a breath. 3 multiplied by itself how many times equals 81? His voice is steady now. First, figure out 81 as powers of 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 3 is 81. He wrote it clearly in words. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 equals 81. That's 4 threes, but the question adds 2 more steps, so I subtract 2. 4 minus 2 equals 2. The answer is 2. Dr. Walsh checked her key, nodded. Correct. Next. Problem 2. Quadratic equation, then logarithmic, then trigonometric. One by one he solved them. His confidence grew. This was home. The room stayed silent except for his voice and marker squeaks. Problem 5 was harder. 3 equations with 3 unknowns. He paused, studied it. This needs me to substitute and eliminate variables step by step. Worked through methodically. 3 minutes. Got it. Dr. Moore checked. Correct. Problem 6. Calculus. Find how fast something changes. Brandon smiled slightly. Chain rule. This is actually fun. Quiet laughter from the audience. Solved it. Correct. Problems 7, 8, 9. Growth patterns. Limits. Areas under curves. He was in rhythm now. Just him and the math. The problem 10. He read it. Stopped. College junior level. Maybe a senior. A rate of change problem with specific starting and ending conditions. Brandon's mind raced. This was senior year stuff, the kind that tripped up even his YouTube profs. His chest tightened. But nah, he breathed. You got this. Like Dad's old puzzles. He stared at it. 10 seconds. 20. The room held its breath. Brandon closed his eyes, visualized the solution, opened them. This is about how rates of change interact with each other. Need to find the pattern first. I started writing, hand moving faster, confidence. I talked through each step, finding the pattern, building the general answer, using the conditions, finding the specific numbers. 5 minutes. 6. Wrote the final answer. Stepped back. The 3 proctors leaned forward, checked keys. We looked at each other. Dr. Walsh stood. That's correct. The room erupted. Students cheered. His mom cried. Mr. Rodriguez pumped his fist. Dr. Walsh raised her hand, waited for quiet. 10 problems. 10 correct. Solved in 1 hour, 12 minutes. She looked at Brandon. Young man, I've taught math for 35 years. What you demonstrated is exceptional. Mr. Bennett stood. Your understanding surpasses most of my students. Dr. Moore spoke last. Brandon, where did you learn this? YouTube, online lectures, my dad's old textbooks. You taught yourself. Yes, ma'am. She shook her head. Remarkable. Dr. Hayes stepped forward. I think we can agree Brandon's abilities are verified. Applause filled the library. Brandon stood there, marker in hand, not quite believing it. Emma hugged him. You did it, DeAndre right behind. That last problem was insane. His mom pushed through, grabbed his face. Baby, I'm so proud, Mr. Rodriguez appeared. I told you. Brandon felt tears, didn't hide them. Dr. Hayes raised his voice. Give Brandon space. The crowd backed up. He turned to the proctors. Will you file a formal report? Dr. Walsh nodded. Absolutely. Brandon operates at a level we rarely see. He should be in university courses. We'll document that, Dr. Hayes said. He looked at Brandon. Questions? Brandon had one. Where's Mrs. Whitmore? The room went quiet. Dr. Hayes' face hardened. Mrs. Whitmore is no longer employed by this district. Contract terminated this morning. Silence. Then slow clapping. Others joined. Not celebration. Recognition. Justice. Dr. Hayes continued. The board reviewed the videos last night. They found a pattern. 5 years, 8 academic dishonesty reports filed by Mrs. Whitmore. 7 were students of color. None substantiated. Murmurs rippled through the room. New protocol starting immediately. Any cheating accusation requires video evidence and second teacher verification before suspension. Mr. Rodriguez spoke. What about Brandon's record? Completely expunged. Official apology sent to his family. Brandon's mom stood. What about the harm done? Dr. Hayes nodded. The district is offering counseling, and Brandon, we'd like to discuss advanced placement, dual enrollment at community college, scholarship opportunities. Dr. Walsh approached. Brandon, I'd like permission to share your results with university programs. MIT has a summer program for exceptional students. MIT? Brandon's voice cracked. You belong there. Brandon looked at his mom. She nodded, crying. Yes, thank you. Students came up. Handshakes, hugs, support. Brandon stood surrounded by proof. He wasn't invisible anymore. 2 days later, Brandon was called back to Dr. Hayes' office. This time is different. No accusations, no fear. 4 strangers sat around the conference table. Dr. Hayes gestured. Brandon, please sit. Mrs. Carter, thank you for coming. His mom sat beside him, squeezed his hand. Dr. Hayes introduced them. Dr. Michael Foster from the State Education Department, Ms. Angela Thompson from NOACP Legal Defense Fund, Dr. James Park, mathematics professor at State University, Mr. Gerald Williams, school board president. Brandon's heart raced. Dr. Foster spoke first. Black, maybe 50, sharp suit. Brandon, we've reviewed your case, videos, test results. Dr. Walsh's report. We found something disturbing. He slid a folder across. Mrs. Whitmore has been a substitute here for 12 years, worked at 6 schools. We found complaints at 5. Ms. Thompson opened her folder, turned it so Brandon could see. Flip to page 14. Brandon, that's you. But pages 1 through 13? 13 other kids, just like you, erased by her reports, all students of color, all cleared, too late. Brandon stared at the pages. Names, dates, accusations, all dismissed months later. His mom leaned forward. How many lost scholarships? How many gave up? Silence. Why wasn't she stopped? His mom asked. Mr. Williams looked uncomfortable. Never at one school long enough, and frankly, we weren't looking. You should have been. You're right, we failed. Dr. Park spoke. Asian, kind eyes. He pulled out his laptop, turned it toward Brandon. Brandon, watch this. He hit play. Split screen. Left side. Brandon solving Mrs. Whitmore's equation in real time. Right side. Timestamp and step analysis. Your sub 2-minute solve? That's grad level intuition. Most of my PhD students can't visualize substitution that fast. Dr. Park paused the video. This isn't memorization. This is a fundamental understanding most people never reach. Dr. Park looked at Dr. Hayes. This student shouldn't be in high school classes. He's ready for university mathematics now. Dr. Foster nodded. State is offering Brandon full scholarship to our early college program. University classes while finishing high school. Full tuition. Brandon blinked. What? University 3 days a week. High school for 2 days. Graduate with diploma and 2 years college credit. His mom's hand tightened. Is this real? Very real. 50 spots statewide. Brandon qualifies. Ms. Thompson slid a document over. NOACP offers legal support if you file a civil rights complaint. We're not suing, Brandon's mom said. What happened was discrimination. 13 other students affected. Someone needs accountability. Mr. Williams cleared his throat. The board is taking action. Terminated contract with substitute service. Mandatory bias training for staff. Anonymous reporting system for students. That's a start, Ms. Thompson said. Not enough. What else? Formal public apology. Scholarship fund for wrongly accused students. Quarterly audits of disciplinary actions across demographics. Mr. Williams looked at Dr. Hayes. Dr. Hayes nodded. We can do that. Brandon found his voice. I don't want it in my name. Everyone looked. Name it after my dad, Robert Carter. He taught me to love learning. He should be remembered. His mom's eyes filled. Mr. Williams wrote, Robert Carter Scholarship Fund for students wrongly accused, approved. Dr. Park leaned forward. Brandon, what do you want to study? Mathematics? Maybe engineering? Not sure yet. You have time. Whatever you choose, you have real support now. Dr. Foster stood, extended his hand. Welcome to the early college program. Brandon shook it, hand steady this time. Ms. Thompson gathered folders. We'll monitor implementation. If you face discrimination again, any form, call me directly. She handed him a business card. One by one, they left. Just Brandon, his mom, Dr. Hayes remained. Dr. Hayes stood. Brandon, I failed you. Should have questioned her immediately. Should have looked at your record. Should have trusted you. You apologized already. Apology isn't enough. But what happened to you will never happen to another student here, not on my watch. Brandon nodded. They meant it this time. They walked out together. Hallway full of students changing classes. Several stopped, waved, called his name. Brandon! Saw you on the news! You're famous! That test was incredible! Brandon's face heated. But this time, attention didn't feel dangerous. It felt like recognition, like respect, like finally being seen for who he really was. The school held an assembly 3 weeks later. The entire student body packed the auditorium. Teachers lined the walls. News cameras in back. Brandon sat front row between his mom and Mr. Rodriguez. Dr. Hayes walked onto stage. The room went quiet. 3 weeks ago, something happened here that should never happen anywhere. A student was publicly humiliated, falsely accused, suspended without evidence. He paused. That student is Brandon Carter. Today, on behalf of Jefferson High and the district, I offer a formal public apology. He faced Brandon. Brandon, we failed you. Failed to protect you. Failed to believe you. Failed to see your talent because we were blinded by bias. Silence. You deserved better. I am deeply sorry. Brandon nodded. Mr. Williams took the microphone. The school board completed its investigation. After the board review last night, it took all night, but Mrs. Whitmore's license? Gone for good, effective today. She will never teach again. Applause started, grew louder. We found discrimination spanning 5 schools, 14 students. Each receives a formal apology and cleared records. More applause. But apologies aren't enough. Action is required. Effective immediately, these changes. He read from paper. 1. All substitutes complete anti-bias training before teaching. 2. Cheating accusations require video evidence and 2 faculty verifications before discipline. 3. Student advocate position created for confidential reporting. 4. Quarterly audits of disciplinary actions across all demographics. Students listened intently. 5. Robert Carter Scholarship Fund, $20,000 annually for wrongly accused students, named after Brandon's father. Brandon's mom cried. Mr. Rodriguez squeezed Brandon's shoulder. Brandon has been accepted into the state early college program. University mathematics courses starting next semester. The auditorium erupted. Students stood, cheered. Brandon felt his face burn. Walked on stage when Dr. Hayes gestured. Dr. Hayes handed him the microphone. Brandon looked at hundreds of faces. I'm not good at speeches. Better with equations. Warm laughter. What happened to me shouldn't have happened. But it did. I'm not the first. Mrs. Whitmore accused 13 others before me. Quiet again. I was lucky. Friends recorded evidence. A teacher believed me. My mom fought. Not every student has that. He looked at the administrators. These rules are good, but rules only work if people follow them. If teachers see students for who they are, not what they look like. He paused. I spent 2 years hiding. I hid in that hoodie like it was a shield, but y'all turned phones into swords. Students murmured agreement. Some nodded. I'm not hiding anymore. I hope no other student feels like they have to. Not their intelligence, not their talent, not who they are. He looked at Emma, DeAndre, Kevin, Rachel. Thank you for seeing me, for standing with me, for recording the truth when power tried to erase it. Handed microphone back, applause deafening. Everyone stood. Brandon walked off stage. Mom grabbed him. Your father would be so proud, mister. Rodriguez shook his hand. You changed this school. Emma hugged him, then DeAndre, then students he barely knew, all saying congratulations. Thank you. We see you. For the first time in years, Brandon didn't want to disappear. He wanted to be seen. And finally, he was. 6 months later, Brandon Carter walked through Jefferson High wearing a State University hoodie. 2 days a week here, 3 days at college, taking real mathematics courses with professors. And he belonged. The whispers changed. No longer the kid who got accused. Now, the kid who proved them wrong. Emma caught him at his locker. Hey, college boy. How were differential equations? Hard, but good. DeAndre walked up. Are you still helping with the math club tomorrow? Yeah, 4 o'clock. 6 new members this week. Everyone wants to learn from you. Brandon felt warmth in his chest. Pride. Purpose. Mr. Rodriguez appeared. Brandon, got a minute? They walked to the empty classroom where it all started. MIT accepted your application, Mr. Rodriguez said. Full scholarship. Brandon's eyes went wide. What? They saw Dr. Walsh's report, saw the videos. They want you. Brandon sat down hard. MIT, his father's dream school. You did it, Mr. Rodriguez said quietly. You proved you belong. Brandon shook his head. We did it. You believed in me when nobody else did. I just saw what was already there. They sat in silence for a moment. Mr. Rodriguez, how many other kids are out there, like me, smart, capable, but invisible, Mr. Rodriguez's face grew serious. Too many. What if we change that? Brandon stood. A program, free tutoring, online resources, for kids who don't have access, who can't afford prep courses, who get overlooked. Mr. Rodriguez smiled. You want to build something. I want to be the person I need. Then let's do it. Here's what haunts me about this story. Mrs. Whitmore had been doing this for 5 years. After Brandon's case went viral, the school board investigated her record. 8 students accused of cheating. 7 of them were Black or Latino. Not a single accusation was ever proven true. 7 kids had their futures nearly destroyed because one teacher couldn't believe they were capable of excellence. And nobody stopped her until Brandon's classmates hit record on their phones. This story is real. I changed the names, but everything you heard actually happened, and it's happening right now in classrooms across America. Right this second, there's a brilliant kid being told they're not good enough, a student being steered away from their dreams, a teenager being punished for daring to be excellent while black, while poor, while different. Brandon won because people recorded the truth, because his classmates shared those videos, because the internet made it impossible to hide what happened. That's the power we have now. Brandon told me something that still gets me. He said, "I didn't go viral because I was special. I went viral because what happened to me happens every single day. I just got lucky that someone filmed it." Lucky. A brilliant kid needed luck to get justice. But here's the thing. We can create that luck for the next Brandon. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Not for me, for every kid who's been counted out. Your like is a vote that says these stories matter. Subscribe to this channel because next week I'm bringing you another story like this. Real people fighting back against systems that tried to crush them. And most importantly, share this video. Send it to that teacher who believes in their students. Send it to the kid who needs to know they're not alone. Because your share might save someone's future.